All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are for lesson number 4. I am on page 138. Don't forget your cues and your summary. Today's date is the 11th of April. And today we are talking about the surface area, this time of pyramids. So make sure that you fill in the blanks of just a couple pieces of information about the surface area of pyramids. All pyramids have a base and triangular faces. So all of the faces that surround and make up a pyramid are made of triangles. The pyramid is named by the shape of the base. So for example, down here we have a rectangular pyramid and a rectangular pyramid. If you're thinking, wait a minute, that looks like a square. Now it could be a square, in that case we'd call it a square pyramid, but because we don't have any numbers telling us the dimensions, we don't know exactly if it's a square or not. However, since all squares are technically rectangles, it's a lot safer to just call it a rectangular pyramid. So again, we have rectangular or square pyramids, and then we have a triangular pyramid because the base is a triangle, and another triangular pyramid because the base is a triangle. So we call it, or we name it, by the shape of its base. Now the lateral height is kind of a new piece of information. It's called the slant height. So when you look at the triangular face, the height of the triangular face is called specifically the lateral height. And you can see that I labeled it with the L here in each picture. So your job is to label these pyramids by their base, which I highlighted in orange, their face, which I labeled with blue, and the lateral height, which you can see is the lowercase cursive l. That's your lateral height. Again, the lateral height is the height of the triangular face. So go ahead and make sure that you have those. You have a question here, just kind of talking about what the characteristics of pyramids are. Remember that pyramids, the one thing that's unique about them is that they only have one base. There's no such thing as a pyramid with more than one base. If your shape has more than one base, it is not a pyramid. Just like with other shapes, we can decompose pyramids. So like before, here we decompose this square pyramid. This one is actually a square because we have dimensions. We have the base is 7, the height is 7, or the length and the width. Because they're both 7, then we know for sure that it's actually a square. So we would call this a square pyramid. And that would be our shape number 1. We'd find the area, because it's a square, by multiplying the length times the width. 7 times 7 is 49 square millimeters. Now with shape number 2 is a triangular, so is a triangle. So we find the area by multiplying the base times the height, and then dividing by 2. So here we have the base is 7, the height is 6, 7 times 6 is 42, divided by 2 is 21. Now again, when I find the total surface area, I have to add the area of all of the faces. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'm adding 5 numbers together. I have one square, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. So 49 would be the area of the square, plus the area of all of the triangles, 21, 21, 21, 21. When I add them all together, I get 133 square millimeters. Okay. Yesterday's lesson was a little bit long, so I'm trying to speed things up here a little bit. The next part of your work is actually something that you are going to finish. So you can see that I started to connect the lateral surface area to the pyramid as well as the total surface area. Look at these directions. It says to draw a line connecting each pyramid to the appropriate lateral and total surface area. So remember that lateral surface area is the surface area without the bases. Okay, so if I was finding the surface area of this pyramid, I'm not going to pay attention to the base here. I'm only going to find the area of the faces, so of these 4 triangles. Notice that they have different dimensions. One height is 4 feet, the other height is 5 feet. One base is 6 feet, the other base is 4 feet. But remember that the opposite sides are congruent. So this triangle is congruent to this triangle. This top triangle is congruent to the bottom one. So if I was finding just the lateral surface area, I would go ahead and multiply base times height. Let's get situated here. Base times height and divide it by 2. So 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. So I have an area of 12, which means that the bottom triangle is also 12. If I find the area of this triangle, again, base times height divided by 2. So 5 times 4 is 20, divided by 2 is 10. So I have a surface area of, I have an area of 10 feet for this triangle, and its opposite side is also congruent, so that makes this one 10 square feet as well. Then to find the lateral surface area, remember I don't look at the base, only the 4 faces. So 12 plus 10 plus 12 plus 10, we have 20 plus 24 makes 44. So you can see that I drew a line to this 44 because 44 square feet is the lateral surface area. If I wanted to include the base, I would go ahead and do that by finding the area of the base. I kind of scribbled it over, but we have 6 feet by 4 feet. That would be an additional 24. So 24 plus 44 makes 68. So that is why these have lines that are connected to this pyramid. You're going to do the same thing for this last pyramid, number 3. Notice that I also did it for number 2. So number 2, if I were to find the lateral surface area, the area of just the faces, no base, it would come out to 81. If I were to add in the area of the base, I would get a total of 108 square feet. So go ahead and do that for number 3. You're going to find the total, the lateral surface area and then the total surface area. Remember, surface area, when we're talking about the lateral surface area, it's the surface area without the bases. Or in this case, because it's a pyramid, there's only one base. You also have questions 4 and 5 to answer. Our directions say to answer the questions below using your knowledge of surface area. So because this is our 4th lesson on surface area, I'm going to let you guys take care of number 4 and number 5. Remember that any questions you have, I encourage you to write them in the margins, right here where we normally write our cues and summary, so that you remember the questions that you need to ask during class. That part's really important. So good luck, hope you're doing well, and come prepared with questions.